What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's JAI, the Gentleman, on IG and Facebook. And this is another episode of Dear Black Gay Men Alive. It's our short, bullshit free step out of our comfort zone to talk everything important in black gay culture. Tonight, we're talking sex, love, and friendship with the creator of the web series Judys. Jared Robinson is here. Now, let's get into the episode. My guest today is the creator and executive producer of the upcoming web series Judys. Please welcome Jared Robinson. Jared, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you?
I'm good. For everybody, like, we did this segment once before. We ain't gonna bullshit that. Like, this is take two. So just know that we done gone through. This ain't our first go at the rodeo. So Jared, you have a new web series. I got lots of questions about this show. So how did you pick these particular characters? It follows 4 early 30s, late 20s, as they are navigating queer culture in New York City. But how did you land on this particular story?
As far as like the characters that I decided to portray in the story?
Yeah.
So when creating the show and wanting to tell the story and tell as many stories as I could within the queer community, I definitely wanted to create 4 dynamic characters that I definitely felt have a voice in the community that people could watch and be like, I relate to him. I relate to Terrence because I go hard at work. I relate to Jerome. I relate to Andre. So I wanted to create characters that had characteristics from people that I felt like a lot of people could resonate with in the community, and just relatable characters through and through.
So this show is called Dear Black Gay Men, and the question that I get, and I imagine that you're going to get a lot of, is where do trans people fit into that? So how do you answer that? Where does trans fit into this black and brown gay landscape that you're creating with Judys?
Yes, I mean, I don't think that you can talk about the queer community and not talk about trans. Like, they are a part of the LGBTQIA plus. Like, they are definitely a part of it, and they're very important to the community. But this show in particular is geared towards queer black men, queer black and brown men. But we definitely will have trans characters on there. You cannot tell a show within the queer community without talking about trans, or just having trans people be present. Like, we want the show to be relatable and to be authentic to the real world, and that is the real world. So we definitely will have trans characters within our show. But my goal was to create a show strictly for the queer community, the black and brown. So our 4 lead characters are queer.
Do you think having black and brown queer male stories is like indicative of this larger culture? Because, like, I don't have a lot of trans friends. That's the reason why Dear Black Gay Men is black gay men. Because, like, all of the girls that I kick it with are the girls, you know.
Yeah.
But do you think that is reflective of our culture, or am I weird?
No, I don't think you're weird. Not at all. I feel as though it's very common for you to get comfortable and for you to navigate towards people who are like-minded like you and are similar towards you, right? And that goes for race, gender, and everything. So it's not weird that majority of your friends would be queer men. That's not weird at all. Like, that's who you are, so that's naturally what you're going to gravitate towards. So, not at all.
Do we need to build stronger connections between people of trans experience and cis people, or do you think that we are okay the way we are as a culture?
Yeah, I definitely feel like we need to build better relationships with them. I don't feel like it should be them over there and us over here, because at the end of the day, we're all under this umbrella, under the LGBTQIA, and towards people who don't understand us, they're not gonna like me and you and dislike someone who's trans. If they're gonna dislike me and you, they're gonna dislike that woman who's trans, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So we're all going through similar stories, not exactly in the same lane, but we're all going through a similar story on the similar path right next to each other. So I definitely feel like we definitely need to better those relationships because, yeah, 100%.
Do you have any guidance on how you think that could happen? Because the first time we talked a little bit about how Pose has changed our culture, Noah's Ark has changed our culture for the better, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think Pose painted a picture that said that trans people and cis people of all people of trans experience and cis people of a whole bunch of different walks are just, one community. But I don't think that is indicative of, the broader Black culture. I think that we do live in these very distinct silos where, the cis people are somewhere and people of trans experience are not always in those same places. How do we build those bridges? How do we connect our culture a little better? Do you think? I know you ain't like no cultural representative, but
I'm gonna do my best.
Humor me.
I'm gonna do my best, and I'm gonna give you the Jared perspective. I feel as though we build those relationships by just same way we will build a relationship with anyone else, finding commonalities. Like, what things do we have in common with them? Like, what things do you have in common with a person who identifies as being a trans woman, a trans man, and finding out what those are, and you'll find more times than not, you have more things in common than you may think you do. Like, different walks of life, but may have similar backgrounds, similar upbringings, and finding what those things are. And I feel as though when you start with that, that kind of is the beginning of the relationship. And before you know it, yeah. So I think it starts with that. That's the basic level for anything. So.
Okay. And all right, girl. When we come back, we will be talking about what happens when good Judys want a piece. We'll find out what happens when Judys become Judys with benefits. We'll be right back. Play me the fuck off. Okay, girl.
Clap your hands for this amazing opportunity to gather together.
It's almost here.
I Elevate National Conference. We are calling together innovators, creators, creatives, leaders, activists, advocates, disruptors.
A weekend of events, celebration, and fellowship. This is an event you don't want to miss.
July 12th through the 16th.
Visit ielevate.org to register. We're back with Jared Robinson, who is the creator of the upcoming web series Judys. Jared, so gay culture is set up to where sex is always top of consciousness. So do you think that good Judys can also be friends with benefits?
So I do not. And that is the hill I'm willing to stand on and die on. I do not.
Why?
So for me, and I feel like this may have been lost along the sauce, a good Judy is your closest friend. It's your confidant. It's your best friend. And it's the person who knows the most about you. If they write a book about you, everything in that book is true, right? Like your number one friend, you've known them for years. Like just that go-to comfort friend, male or female. And for me, go ahead.
You go ahead, finish. You the guest.
Okay. So for me, those friends that are at that top level, I consider family. Like those are my extended brothers and sisters. I'm not trying to tap and get a piece of my brothers and sisters on that level. So that's why I feel like your Judys, you cannot be friends with benefits with. I do not.
Okay, so you can't be Judys with benefits, but do you think friends with benefits is a like a tenable friendship?
It's muddy, but it definitely is possible. As long as like it's definitely possible, but it's a muddy territory.
Like, why is it so muddy, do you think?
Because things get messy when you engage in sexual activity with someone, like whether that's your intention or not. Like having sex with someone, chemicals are released and things get muddy. issues are there, and before you know it, somebody has feelings. Someone has stronger feelings than the other, and then the communication isn't there. Boundaries aren't being set, and that's how things get messy.
But do you think by setting boundaries or communicating that it can be that it cannot be so muddy?
1000%. Setting boundaries and having open communication. Yes, that's your best bet.
Okay. Do you think you can maintain a friendship if the sex was bad?
If the sex was bad. So I have like a two-parter for that. My first overall answer is like, yes, with communication. But I'm going to go a little further and say bad sex is dependent on the person. Like, I personally don't believe in the term bad sex because what I may determine that is bad may be perfectly fine to you. What you may love and be the best moment of your life may be disgusting to me. So I feel like it's open to interpretation. And again,
but who cares? But who cares? If I think it's bad, then it's bad to me, right?
Absolutely. But that goes into communication. So then you have to communicate to that person why it's bad and what you like and what you don't like.
But do you even think that we have enough maturity to even go that far? Because I've had bad sex with a hookup and I just never talked to him again.
Yeah, that's probably the most common thing to do. It's like, it's bad. I don't know you. Why even waste time putting energy into it? If it's not there, it's not there, right? So that's
the reason why I asked though is because when you call it a friend with benefits, it assumes that we got some kind of, we might I totally agree. I can't fuck my Judys because that would literally be like having sex with an actual sibling, and that's weird and inappropriate for me and my proclivities. But like if you just an acquaintance and I go out to the club with you every once in a while, I mean, I agree it's muddy, but if the sex is bad, do you end up becoming more of a stranger and this was a hookup that didn't go well, or do you think you can revert back to being friends?
I don't think you can revert back to being friends. I really don't. No.
So sex is like a bell you can't unring to you.
It really is. Like, you crossing that line in muddy those waters, be prepared for the outcome. Like, no.
What if it's like one of them drunken nights or high nights or
both
or a dark room somewhere? Like, what if you just slip and fell on the dick?
I feel as though if you're willing to put in the work and give it a second try, a third try, it's definitely possible. Like, okay, it was bad the first time, let's try it again. But I would say, generally speaking, like, it was bad, and like you're always gonna look at that person that's like, it just doesn't work. It will forever be that stamp on their forehead.
Like, I'm always curious about kind of the culture around sex, because one would assume that if you are a friend with benefits and we are continuing along this benefits, because I do agree with you that you can't unring the bad sex bell. Like, you can't unring the sex bell in general, but bad sex is hard to rebound from.
Fair.
To me. But if we have a good sex and we're maintaining a friendship, you don't think that can clear itself up, or is it always muddy to you?
Starting out as friends and then crossing that line of friends with benefits.
Yeah.
You definitely can maintain a friendship as long as there's open communication and boundaries set. It's still gonna be muddy. It's still gonna be a work, like a trial and error, a work in progress, but it's definitely possible.
Okay.
Work though.
All right, I don't want to get into nothing because we're gonna come back to that in the next segment. Let's get ready. We talked about the difference between a Judy and a friend with benefits. When we come back, we're going to be figuring out the difference between a friend with benefits and a boyfriend. We'll be right back. What up, though? The conversations stay lit on Dear Black Gay Men podcast. Hook up, entanglement, situation, relationship, everything from dushing to dating. A top verb, but I am not a top noun. I am a guru at first dates. It's new every Wednesday. Subscribe now. Teammates, the easiest way to support the channel is to subscribe to Dear Black Gay Men on YouTube. If you're already subscribed, make sure you type subscribe in the chat box so I can see who's rocking with the show. If you're not, you can visit youtube.com/at Dear Black Gay Men and subscribe now. If you really love us, you'll turn on the notifications so you never miss a thing. Again, that's youtube.com/at Dear Black Gay Men. And make sure you type subscribe in the chat box so I know and I can see exactly who's rocking with us. Now, let's get back into the show. So, Jared, did I tell you my name is Jared?
Yes, we have that in common.
Yeah, we spell it differently, but the J stands for Jared.
Yes, absolutely. We're Jared brethren. So
yes, we are brethren in the gay Jareds.
Two gay Jareds. Who would have thunk
it? Two black gay Jareds with a little curly situation on the top. It's a thing. So, what do you think is the difference between a friend with benefits and an actual boyfriend?
Yeah, so an actual boyfriend is someone that you are building something with. Like, you guys get into a relationship with the hopes of dating to see if this can be your forever person, right? Like, you're going on dates, you're meeting family, you're going to events and gatherings. Like, that's your partner. Like, depending on every situation is different, but most likely it's a committed relationship unless it's open. And then a friends with benefits is someone that you have a bottom line friendship with, but it's transactional.
Do you think you can go back and forth between one and the other?
No.
You don't think a friend with benefits could become a boyfriend?
Yes, but I don't think you can go back and forth. But like, can you start out friends with benefits and then get committed and be boyfriend? Yes, but back and forth ping pong, no.
Because in my head, I'm really thinking, if I can have sex with you, if I'm attracted to you enough to have sex with you, and I can kick it, that to me is a relationship.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Why do you think culture allows this friend with benefits label to creep in, though?
Because there is no commitment. Like, no one wants to take that first step and say, I like you. I don't want to date anyone else. Just you. Let's try this thing called relationship. Like, let's try this thing called being committed and monogamous to each other.
So you think the issue is vulnerability?
Yeah. No one wants to take that first step. Especially when you're already friends with benefits. Like, we get into this with the idea that we're friends, but it's just transactional. It's just about sex. You scratch my foot, I scratch yours. So when one person kind of gets feelings, or it's kind of like, I can see myself actually committing to this person, you don't want to like put yourself out there, and that person may actually be like, no, I just want to keep scratching your foot and vice versa. So I feel like that's.
But why do we bitch out like that? That sounds like a bitch move to me.
It 1,000% is. Like, that's life. Like, you got to put yourself out there. If not, you'll never get anything. But, you know, nobody wants to be the first one to make the move.
Why do you think black gay men are like that, though? Why? What keeps us from being courageous?
I feel like we systematically have gone through a lot and had to gone through a lot of hurdles of being let down, right? No matter whether you've been closeted, coming out, like, no matter what your story is, you've had to, at some point in your life, put yourself out there, and you may have not received it back, whether your family wasn't receptive to you coming out, or your lifestyle, like whatever it may be. I feel like every gay black man has had a similar story where they've put themselves out there and gotten a negative response back. So I feel as though systematically, subconsciously, when it comes to putting ourselves out there in terms of like with feelings, we revert back to those old habits.
But if you are dealing with that level of trauma, because that sounds like trauma to me. If you're traumatized and I, different ways, but am experiencing the same kind of trauma, then shouldn't we identify one with another as opposed to be scared of each other?
You would think, but the only way for us to do that is for us each to realize our trauma and to see it and to call it what it is. We're not calling it trauma. We're calling it I'm fine, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So until you name it, you can't fix it or even try to analyze it. That's the first step.
This is becoming therapy. See, I knew talking about friends with benefits was bigger than just friends with benefits.
It's so much bigger than that. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it? Okay, and so then it's because what I'm hearing you say is culture allows us to stay in this kind of friends with benefits category because neither of us potentially are vulnerable enough or courageous enough to take the next step and progress into something more than that. So do you think that's also the reason why we have so many fuck buddies in our culture?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like a lot of us within the community are not willing to put ourselves out there and take that step. So it's just easy, like, a fuck buddy, you don't have to put yourself out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, to a certain extent, yes, but you don't have to put your heart on the line. You don't have to open yourself up and give someone your heart and be hoping and be hoping that they're going to handle it with kid gloves. And I feel like when you try to date and get in a relationship, that's essentially what you're doing.
And so are we going to see in Judys, are we going to see some of these dynamics played out in the stories that we're going to see in the show? Or how do these dynamics come up in the show?
Yeah, so you will definitely see the characters delve into like relationships and dating and friends with benefits and all of that. You won't see them cross between each other. Like, I definitely created this show with the premise to like break stereotypes and to show the world that we're more than just that. Like, there's this stereotype that surrounds the queer Black community that all we are is sex. We are having sex with everybody and everything. So I wanted to create the show to kind of show that like we're more than that. We're beyond that. So the 4 guys on the show will never, ever cross those lines with each other. And it will be built on core friendship and brotherhood. But of course, along the lines, they're going to get into some mess. Things is going to happen. Things is going to pop off. And then you will definitely see them date and get messy and all of the things within. 100%.
I love that.
Deal with it.
I love that. Let's get ready to take a break. We'll be right back.
Hit the notification bell because we're going live.
Like that's the least of my worries. The size.
Oh, I think relationships are becoming more complex.
Tuesday and Thursday every week.
Welcome to Dear Black Gay Men Live
at 9 p.m. Eastern. Subscribe at youtube.com/@ Dear Black Gay Men.
Every episode, my guests and I answer questions that come in from the DMs. If you have questions, a topic for the show, or maybe even want to be a guest, you can DM us at Dear Black Gay Men on IG. For you, Jared, I asked on all of our social platforms, I asked, can you be a friend with benefits? Can you maintain a friend with benefits level of relationship and it be successful? And so instead of asking questions, the people have a whole lot of comments, and I want you to weigh in your opinion on them. Is that fair?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So the first is Zay from DC. Zay says, don't get shit confused. When we make an agreement, I don't create any fantasies or try to transform it. It is what it is, a mutual sex agreement. Like, I wouldn't confuse my hairstylist for my barber. They do different things. So the question for you, Jared, is, do friends with benefits and actual friends serve different purposes in our lives?
1,000%. Yes, they definitely do. I feel like an actual friend or a Judy is someone that is truly just there, that there's no transaction with them. They love you through and through just as you are, and vice versa. Like, there's no sexual anything going on. And I feel like a friends with benefits there's a level of friendship there, but it's transactional. Like you're getting something from them, they're getting something from you. So similar to what they said, yeah, they're very different.
So do you think that in order for someone to go from friends with benefits to Judy level, you got to stop having sex?
Yes. You cannot have sex and expect to go to Judy level. Like, yes, that's one of the rules. You can't. Judys are not having sex with each other. So yes, the sex.
Okay.
1000%.
Okay, so then the question, so back to my earlier question. So then is it a Judy that you have sex with? Is that a boyfriend?
No.
It's still different.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you wrote the book on Judy, so you wrote the book on Judy's. Okay, so the next one is Jamal from New York. Jamal said the answer is, again, I asked, can you have friends with benefits and maintain that? And he says the answer is yes, but there are levels of friends. I cannot fuck friends I have a familial connection with. However, I can and will fuck someone who is cool and attractive that also happens to be someone I'm cool with. Friends is definitely defined differently by everyone. So the question I have for you, Jared, is why do we limit it to, like, a lot of my friends are cute. And I wouldn't mind a benefit or two. I do agree that it gets muddy, but do we pigeonhole people? Like, do we limit the friendships so that we can fuck them?
I feel like it depends if you're willing to cross that line and willing to deal with what may be on the other side. Because the fact of the matter is, you're friends with someone and then you decide to cross that line with them and engage in sex. You have to be open and accepting of what may come. And what may come is that the friendship can never be salvaged again. The friendship may be over. It may never be the same. So you just have to decide, is this friend so important to me in my life that I'm not willing to risk it? Or if you're willing to risk it, then make it do what it do and cross that bridge of the burning sand. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. But be willing to sit in that.
Okay, because while you were talking, what I vividly saw was like all those rom-coms where it's like, of course it's straight people, but it's like a guy and a girl and they're best friends from childhood, but one of them really loves the other one. And the reason they never get together is because they don't want to fuck up the friendship.
Yeah.
Are gay people just doing the opposite where we'll fuck you, but we don't become friends because we don't want to fuck up the fucking?
Yes, we're doing it the complete opposite way. We're doing it the complete opposite way.
I just eye rolled.
Yeah, we're not afraid.
That was a deep eye roll because we're not afraid to fuck somebody. That's the weird thing about it. We're not afraid to fuck somebody, but we are afraid to love somebody. I think that is a mess.
That is so twisted of us. We've got to do better. That is so twisted.
Okay, we got one more. This is Trey from Los Angeles. Now, Trey from Los Angeles, we went back and forth, right? And he said something in the DMs, and my response to him before I read it is, I said, so I'm understanding correctly. Is this like I meet someone, I fuck them, then we become friends, so we stop fucking? Or is it we meet, we're friends, then we fuck, so we stop friending? And Trey responds, no, none of the above. We meet, we fuck, we stay friends till an opportunity stirs. Now, the question that I have is friends with benefits this just holding pattern until something better comes along?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely.
Like you don't think friends with benefits can be the destination of something? It's just a pit stop on the way somewhere else.
Yeah, because ideally, eventually, everyone's different, but ideally, you're gonna eventually wake up and be like, okay, I'm ready to commit to someone. I'm ready to settle down. Until that time comes, I still need to get my rocks off. So I have this friends with benefit, and they scratch me, I scratch them, and this is great. This is giving me what I need to wake up every day and still go to work and release my tension, right? Like it's doing that for me. And then when I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to commit, then you drop them off. Like that's kind of how it is, unfortunately.
What I find so interesting about everything you just said, because I totally agree. I absolutely agree. But I find it so interesting that along the journey of life, one thing that is absolutely essential is what I'm hearing you say and what I agree with is busting a nut is essential. Sex is essential. Love is the extra credit, is the gift of purchase. Love, commitment, affirmation, someone who wants the best for me. That is the icing on the cake, but the eggs and the flour and the sugar, the integral ingredients is I need to bust this nut. Is that healthy?
Is busting a nut healthy?
Is making sex so essential to our lives, is that healthy?
I don't think so.
Why? This will be my last question before we go to break. Why?
I feel as though putting sex on such a pedestal, I feel like it limits us to be able to commit to people. I feel like it limits us to like what we're looking for. Like if we're so stuck on just sex that we're missing out on so many people that may cross our lives day to day that could actually be our forever person. I feel like we're putting sex too heavy on our to-do list.
Okay. I agree. I agree, but we ain't got time to dive too deep into that one. We'll have you back on for another conversation. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Get in the conversation.
This comment says, I did a good job. It's time for a congratulatory ejaculation session.
Chat live on the show and get exclusive content.
The bottoms are going to eat me up for this in the chat.
Join the Dear Black Gay Men Insiders group on Facebook.
I want to thank Jared, my Jared buddy, for joining me today. Judys is coming, but they need our support. If you want to help Jared create this project, you can visit seedandspark.com for opportunities to donate. Search for his series, Judys, Judys, and the link is in the description. I asked, as you have seen, I asked on social media about fucking your friends. And what I realized is that many of us think that friends with benefits is sex without expectation. But I think that speaks more to the status of our friendships than it ever will talk about the pitfalls of our sex lives. Friendship, that is actual friendship, being somebody's Judy, being in their corner, has a lot of expectations. We should expect from our Judys, they should activate for us when we need them. They should encourage us. They should help us grow and evolve into a better version of ourselves. And they should expect the same thing from us. If we don't have expectations for our friends, whether we fuck them or not, then we're just a matched blunt and a club night away from strangers or some random hookup we met on the apps. So, dear Black gay men, if you gonna fuck your friends, fuck your friends. That was our show. Next time, I'm nervous because the team is bringing together two of my exes and we're going to be talking about actual husband dick and if I got it. I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman on IG and Facebook. If this episode made you feel a little more dope, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, like the video, and share it with someone who needs a dopeness reminder. Dear Black Gay Men Podcast is new every Wednesday. You can stream it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks in advance for a 5-star rating. It really helps us find new listeners. We go live on YouTube every Thursday, so visit Dear Black Gay Men. So subscribe to Dear Black Gay Men and follow at Dear Black Gay Men on social so you never miss a thing. I am Jay the Gentleman. This has been Dear Black Gay Men Live, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.